Intelligent water networks and certainly smart metering, which a lot of us talk about, has been part of that journey, but it's certainly not the complete journey. We've realised some pretty significant savings, stripping about $200 million out of the forward capital program. And what that's allowed us to do is reduce the forward price path for every residential water customer by about $500 per annum over the next 10 years. A focus on improving the information availability to the business and how that's been able to change how we run the business. So look at that improvement program in three parts: improving the information availability, using that information to drive understanding in the business, and then using that increased in understanding to transform our business processes and our decision making. Historically, a lot of our focus had been on collecting information out of the trunk network, mature levels of SCADA. What we haven't done well in the past is got information out of our distributed pipe network. The rollout of the automatic water meter reading, in excess now of 35,000 smart meters across Mackay, created a step change, linking that with rainfall, temperature, humidity, data analytics, implementing statistical databases to aggregate data. And as a result, over the last few years, there's been a step change in the information that we're getting out of the business. We're driving understanding in the business. Make sure that that understanding has been linked really closely with our financial understanding. Transformation in the way that we view our customers, the amount of leaks that are out there within the community. And so we find that at any point in time, about 5 to 10% of our customers have a leak. Get some buy-in within the community, go and share the leaks with the community so that they can save money. Had a big focus on outdoor water use, and so we're being able to use the data to really drive quite a big shift in the way that we engage with our customer, where our understanding of how we need to engage with our customer. So historically, we had a very property-centric view of our customer. And to see their water use in real time has changed the behaviour and helping us influence the cost base to the community. Bring new skill sets into the business, new systems to manage that data, new ways to store the data onto the cloud, new applications to manage the data. The product called My Water, which is really dealing with the data integration and data analytics. Customer management system, deal with billing, tools to analyse the new data sets. Traditional billing systems, traditional pathways is not set up to deal with this data. So there's been a high level of political support from day one. The community have been taken on the bit of the journey. Customers have come along with the idea that the data is good, and that's largely on the back of telling people about the leaks that ran on TV, sides of buses, print, the website, giving people the tools then to change their behaviour. The small amount of really high value leaks left the tap running in the pool. When they went away for the long weekend, that one event cost them about $213, and so we were able to log on straight away and have a look at that. Seeing commercial leaks up around 4,000 litres an hour and has been a bit of an eye-opener to us. Target the highest value activity first and embedding that change in the organisation and going to the next step.
Interesting to see where the initiative has been driven by, who's involved.
I think it's encouraging to see the high level of planning involvement, the high level of strategy involvement. Mackay Regional Council's view is that this is an organisational change program, not an individual technology change or an individual metering activity. One of the early misnomers was that smart metering was just about replacing manual meter reads, which is not. Important that there's a fairly high level of customer service involvement, because a transformation to the way that we deal with the customer. The risks in the poll there is the lower level of senior management team involvement. Our observation is that a high level of senior management team buy-in is needed just because of some of the fundamental changes that are needed to be made to the way you run a water business to get the value out of an intelligent water network. Not just a technology program, but also a change management program. And so therefore taking a change management approach to the way this is implemented is important. So there's been a culture shift in the way that we make decisions at all levels. Talk about this in different ways in terms of the old way was that the capital was the default way that we solved a problem. The new way that we have within our business is that we go after information to first better inform decisions, and a management staff shift away from you get given a budget, you spend it, looking at solving problems, addressing risks, chasing opportunities, breaking down the fear that it's actually okay not to spend your budget as long as you deliver on your outcomes. That capital investment is now considered the last solution rather than the first solution. All of that is obviously underpinned by the new information that's available to the business. Original business case aimed at changing water use behaviour and improving level of community awareness on water conservation and changing behaviour. Seen a dramatic shift in the community's awareness of water as an issue, both in an unprompted survey and prompted surveys. Change in the number of interactions that we have with our customers when we issued out our water bills, and customers would essentially ring up to complain or to question their bill. Or as we rolled out our customer portal, the amount of people that started to engage with us through electronic means significantly increased, and we're now seeing that there's been a drop in the number of phone calls, but a dramatic increase in just the number of interactions that we have with a customer. It's targeting a drop in the peak water use to try and improve asset utilisation and defer the next water treatment plant, that we've seen a drop in the peak water use in the community, and so that we're having an impact on what all our marketing's been around is managing the way that they use water outdoors. Some learnings and some savings in areas that we didn't originally anticipate. Historically, it appears that we were really, really bad at sizing commercial water meters. We're missing, in some cases, up to 30% of our commercial meter water because we've oversized commercial meters or haven't replaced those commercial meters at appropriate times. The graph that's on the slide there is a mass balance over a residential apartment block, where the blue is the supply side, which is what we bill on, and the yellow is the private sub-meters of what actually water's being used through a 20 millimetre. And so we think there's big opportunities yet to be realised. We're starting to optimise our network in other ways by gathering things like pressure information. The slide there is some pressure data that we collected on the back of the smart metering network, where we had a low cost rollout of a pressure sensor. And what we did is, before we were about to do a couple of $1 million project to replace a remote piece of pipeline, didn't realise that we were both over-pressurising the water main and fluctuating the pressure in the water main regularly. That was leading to higher failures. So we're using the data, change the way that we manage the asset and defer the replacement. Quite excited about is that there's lots more opportunities to get in, understand our water network better and make better operational decisions, target communication specifically to individual customers or to groups of customers through push alert, move away from being sort of mass education to more micro marketing or micro education around the water use. Is getting low cost information out of the sewer network. Also on the back of the smart metering network, getting low cost information, matching that up with rainfall information and linking it to parameters out of our hydraulic models to predict sewer blockages to prevent overflows before they occur. It's probably around the just the skill sets that's needed and the change in understanding that's needed in the business. So yeah, some of the early mistakes that we made is that it does take a different amount of data storage and a different amount of processing power to analyse that data. And so I think our biggest learning was that we had to move that off of our traditional council systems and put it in the cloud. There's a new skill set that's possibly not always exists within organisations around statistical thinking, understanding data and statistical techniques that we just need to be careful that it's often not intuitive. I think what's really exciting about it at the moment in the industry is there's a lot of people looking at their organisation, looking at their organisational strategies and how these new data sets can be embedded. So I think the uptake is probably slow, but I think it's gaining momentum. So yeah, absolutely. I think there's probably most utilities are now at least thinking about it and a lot actively putting programs in place to see how they can best get use of this data. So I'm pretty convinced it'll be a change that will just slowly get embedded in the industry. So I think this really definitely started as a demand management strategy. I think the biggest change that's happened within the organisation is that the way that we view customers and the way that we value a relationship with a customer, with a specific person using the water now compared to what we did previously, is probably the big understanding of how the engineerings and the finances are linked together is probably just a maturing in our understanding of how to run a water business has sort of gone in parallel to this and is enabling us to realise some more savings. This is about business decision making, and this is about a maturing in the way that we make decisions and run the business and use capital.
Thanks, David, for a great presentation. Thanks so much for participating, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.